You ever go on a cruise with your wife and your best friends, and find out months later that the real guest list included her boyfriend? Yeah. Buckle up, this story gets better. And I swear, not even Christopher Nolan could have written it this twisted. But it happened. For real. So stick around, the ending? It's not what you think. It started simple. Samantha came to me one night in early spring, all smiles and excitement. Said she wanted us to do something big, something fun, something we'd remember. We've both been working too hard, she said, running her hand over my arm. We deserve a break. Just us and Kevin and Ashley, our favorite couple. A cruise. 7 days on the biggest ship in the world. Port Miami to the Caribbean. Sunshine. Drinks. No stress. Sounded pretty damn perfect. And Samantha? She was buzzing with excitement, booking cabins, planning dinners, researching excursions. She hadn't been that lit up in months. I figured it was good. Good for us. Funny, isn't it? Sometimes you're living inside the con, smiling the whole way through, and you don't even know it. The day we boarded, everything felt easy. Kevin and Ashley met us at the dock, dragging matching suitcases, cracking jokes. Samantha wore this white sundress that made her look about 10 years younger. We took selfies. Drank overpriced frozen margaritas before we even got on the ship. Laughs. Hugs. Toasts. I remember thinking, this is what life's supposed to feel like. You know what the weirdest part is? None of it felt fake at the time. Not the way she looked at me. Not the way she kissed me on the cheek when we walked onto that ship together. They say hindsight's 20/20. Standing there back then, I was legally blind. First couple days went smooth. Long breakfasts on the balcony. Group dinners at the fancy restaurants. Lounging by the pool with cold beers and bad sunburns. I didn't notice anything. Not yet. Samantha said she wanted to hit the spa a few times. Girls' day with Ashley. Fine. Makes sense. I wasn't the mud bath type anyway. Kevin and I spent a few afternoons at the sports bar, betting fake money on horse races, getting way too competitive over trivia games. Life was easy. Simple. Good. It wasn't until the third night that a little crack showed. We were at one of those formal dinners, you know, jacket and tie, 5-course meals, waiters balancing 10 plates at once. I came back from the restroom and found Samantha gone. Ashley too. Kevin shrugged when I asked. Probably shopping, he said. Or hunting for the good desserts. I laughed it off. No big deal, right? Except they didn't come back for almost 40 minutes. And when they did, Samantha's cheeks were flushed. Not from wine. From something else. Of course, I didn't think that at the time. I wasn't that guy, the paranoid husband, sniffing for betrayal around every corner. If anything, I was grateful. Grateful she was having fun. Grateful we were making memories. Grateful we weren't one of those couples you see fighting on vacation like it's a job. But underneath all that, maybe something in me already knew. Something was off. I just wasn't ready to see it yet. The fourth night started just like the others. Dinner. Drinks. Laughter. Kevin and I had made it a tradition by then. After dinner, we'd hit the cigar lounge on deck 7. Sit outside, shoot the breeze, pretend we were classier than we really were. Samantha said she wasn't feeling great. Too much wine, maybe. Said she was going back to the cabin to rest. Ashley jumped in quick, said she'd go with her. Girl code, she joked, grinning. Seemed harmless. Kevin and I stayed for another hour or so. Nothing crazy. Just talking about football, complaining about work, doing what guys do. Around 11, I decided to call it. Told Kevin I was gonna take a little walk before heading back. Just clear my head. Enjoy the ocean air. He nodded, already deep into his second glass of scotch. So I wandered. Up a couple decks, along the side of the ship, past the pools and the empty hot tubs. It was quiet at that hour. Most people were either asleep or drunk enough not to be wandering corridors. I took a turn down one of those long interior hallways, The kind lined with closed cabin doors and little metal placards. And that's when it almost happened. I heard it before I saw it. Low voices. Hurried footsteps. Then, right at the end of the hall, maybe 15-20 feet ahead, I caught a glimpse. Two figures. A man and a woman. Moving fast, like they were sneaking off. At first, I didn't think anything of it. Probably a couple hooking up somewhere they shouldn't be. Cruise ships are basically floating cities. All kinds of weird things happen behind closed doors. But something about the woman's dress caught my eye. Flowy. White. Familiar. Looked a lot like the one Samantha had packed. My stomach tensed up without permission. I picked up my pace a little. Not running. Not rushing. Just moving faster than before. But by the time I reached the corner where they'd been, they were gone. Vanished. Like they'd melted into the walls. Only thing left was the quiet hum of the ship and my own pulse pounding in my ears. I stood there a second, looking around. Nothing. Empty hallway. Closed doors. Just me and the stupid feeling in my gut that said something wasn't right. I shook it off. Told myself I was being dramatic. Cruise ships were crowded. People wore similar clothes. It didn't mean anything. Hell, for all I knew, it wasn't even Samantha. Just some random woman with the same taste in dresses. I went back to the cabin. Samantha was already in bed. Lights off. TV on low. She smiled when I came in, sleepy, casual. Said she'd just been resting, like she told me she would. And I believed her. Or at least I wanted to. Because trust? Trust isn't something you check at the door when things get weird. It's something you hold onto with both hands, even when it starts slipping through your fingers. We got off that ship with tan lines, a few cheap souvenirs, and a phone full of photos that, at the time, felt like proof we'd had a perfect vacation. Kevin clapped me on the back when we walked down the gangway. Ashley gave Samantha a big hug. Everyone smiling. Everyone pretending. Including me. Life went right back to normal after that. Work got busy. Emails piled up. Mason jar full of loose change on my dresser kept growing like it always had. Samantha and I slid back into routine like nothing had changed. She even seemed happier for a while. More affectionate. More playful. More present. I thought the cruise had done what she said it would. That it saved us. But little things started poking at me. Small stuff. The kind you don't notice if you're not looking too hard. The kind you file away in the back of your mind, thinking, that's weird, and then move on because real life needs you to. Like how Samantha started locking her phone again. Or how she got jumpy when an unknown number called while we were in the car. Or how she mentioned wanting more girls' nights with Ashley, even though she'd never cared much for that before. And then there were the dreams. I'd wake up some nights and just feel it. That something was wrong. Nothing obvious. No smoking gun. Just a heavy, sinking weight in my chest that wouldn't go away. I told myself it was stress. Business was rough. My dad was having some health issues. The world felt heavier than usual. It had to be that. Because the alternative, the idea that the woman I loved, the woman I trusted with my life, might be hiding something, it was too big. Too ugly. A few months passed. Cruise felt like a distant memory. Just another trip in a photo album. Until one random Thursday afternoon, everything cracked open. I was sitting at my desk, half working, half scrolling through emails, when a message popped up from Kevin. Subject line: Dude, look at this. It was a link. Some gallery site. Apparently, after every big cruise, the ship posted professional photos, candid shots from around the boat. People eating, dancing, swimming, the usual stuff. Kevin said they'd been browsing, trying to find a few good pics to print. We're even in one from that dance party night, he wrote. I clicked the link without thinking. The page loaded slow. Gallery after gallery of random strangers smiling at the camera. I scrolled lazily. Didn't even know what I was looking for. And then I saw it. Not front and center. Not posing. In the background. Way back, near the railings, half lit by the golden sunset. Two people, a man, a woman, locked together like the rest of the world didn't exist. And the woman? Same dress, same hair, same goddamn smile I kissed 1,000 times. My mouth went dry. I zoomed in. It got grainy, pixelated, but not enough to save her. It was Samantha. And the guy? Wasn't Kevin. Wasn't some random stranger. It was Chase Reynolds, the personal trainer she'd hired the year before to get in shape for the summer. Yeah, that Chase. I sat there staring at the screen. Couldn't move. Couldn't breathe right. Because this wasn't suspicion. This wasn't a feeling. This was proof. Accidental, stupid, irrefutable proof. On a public website. For anyone to find. I didn't storm into the living room and start throwing accusations. I didn't print the photo and shove it in her face. I didn't even bring it up at all. Not yet. I just sat there, staring at that stupid blurry photo, until my pulse slowed down enough to think straight. And then I picked up my phone. Not to call Samantha. Not to call Chase. I called Kevin. He picked up on the second ring. Yo, what's up, man? I kept my voice calm. Hey, got a second? Sure. What's going on? You said you found a few photos from the cruise, right? Yeah, they're hilarious. Why? You see anyone you didn't expect in them? There was a pause. No. Just us. Why? Can you do me a favor? Of course. Go back. Look closer. Especially at the background. Another pause. Longer this time. Ryan, what am I looking for? I sighed. You'll know when you see it. An hour later, he was at my door. No call. No warning. Just a knock, hard and fast. When I opened it, he looked like he'd seen a ghost. No jokes. No casual banter. Just Kevin, standing there with his hands clenched into fists. You need to tell me everything, he said. I let him in, closed the door, sat down across from him, and for the first time, I said it out loud. My wife's been cheating on me. Kevin nodded, his jaw tight. And I think Ashley knew. At first, he didn't want to believe it. Kept shaking his head. Kept mumbling things like, no way. Ashley wouldn't do that. She loves you guys. But the longer he sat there, the more his face changed. Like puzzle pieces clicking into place in real time. Things that hadn't made sense before. Little side glances, excuses, weird moments during the cruise. They all started to line up. Kevin stood up so fast his chair almost flipped. I'm gonna talk to her. I didn't stop him. Didn't warn him to stay calm. Didn't say anything. I just nodded. Because whatever came next, I needed the truth. All of it. Later that night, Kevin called. His voice was wrecked. Raw. She knew, Ryan. She knew everything. My stomach twisted, but I stayed quiet. Kevin kept talking. She admitted it. Said Samantha told her about Chase months before the cruise. Said she helped cover it because Samantha deserved to be happy. I closed my eyes. Of course. Of course, it was wrapped up in some messed up idea of loyalty. Kevin's voice dropped even lower. I made her tell me everything. And tomorrow? She's coming over. She's gonna tell you too. Face to face. I hung up and just sat there for a while. In the dark. Not thinking. Not feeling. Just existing. It's a weird thing, realizing your whole reality has been edited by people you trusted. The trip. The dinners. The laughs. It wasn't real. It was a cover-up. A performance. And the worst part? I clapped along the whole time. The next morning, I didn't do much. Didn't shower. Didn't eat. Just sat at the kitchen table with a cold cup of coffee, waiting. It felt weirdly formal, like waiting for a meeting with a lawyer or a doctor, someone about to deliver bad news you already know deep down, but still need to hear out loud. At 10 o'clock sharp, there was a knock on the door. I opened it. Ashley stood there, clutching her purse like it was a life raft. No makeup. No smile. just red eyes and a stiff set to her jaw. She looked past me, like maybe she was hoping Kevin would be there too, but I didn't invite anyone else. This was between her and me now. "Come in," I said. She stepped inside like she was walking into court. Didn't sit until I did. Didn't say a word until I told her to. I waited a second, then nodded toward the chair across from me. "Go ahead." Ashley swallowed hard. And then, quietly, she started talking. She told me how it started. Months, no, over a year before the cruise. Samantha had met Chase at the gym. At first, it was innocent, or so she claimed. Friendly. Flirty. A little too much texting. Ashley said she confronted her once, told her it was dangerous. But Samantha brushed her off. Said she needed someone who understood her. Someone who made her feel alive. Again. By the time the cruise came around, it wasn't casual anymore. It was full-blown. Dates in secret. Nights when she told me she was working late or grabbing drinks with the girls. Spent instead in hotel rooms with him. And the cruise? That wasn't my wife's idea. It was Chase's. He pitched it as a way for them to sneak a full week together without me getting suspicious. He said a ship was perfect. Big enough to hide in plain sight. And Samantha? She thought it was genius. Ashley paused then, looking at me with real guilt in her eyes. I told her it was crazy, she said. I told her not to do it. But I didn't stop her. She lowered her head. I helped cover it. When you were with Kevin, I kept her schedule open. Made excuses if you asked where she was. Warned her if you got close. My hands tightened around the coffee mug until my knuckles went white. But I didn't yell. Didn't throw anything. I just asked, "Why?" Ashley wiped her nose with the sleeve of her sweater. I thought she just needed time to figure it out. That she'd realize she was wrong before it went too far. That she'd come back to you. She shook her head, voice cracking. I was stupid. And selfish. And weak. I sat there for a long time, letting it all sink in. The spa days. The shopping trips. The 40-minute disappearances during dinner. It all made sense now. Not accidents. Not coincidences. Cover stories. Built for me. And I bought every single one. Finally, I asked the question that had been gnawing at the back of my brain since the second I saw that photo. Did Kevin know? Ashley shook her head fast. No. God, no. I lied to him too. I told him everything was fine. I told him you and Samantha were solid. I didn't want to drag him into it. She looked up at me then, eyes shining with unshed tears. I'm so sorry, Ryan. I know that doesn't fix anything. But I am. I leaned back in my chair. Felt every inch of exhaustion settle into my bones. You're gonna have to live with it, I said. Ashley nodded. I know. I stood up. Walked to the door. Opened it. She got the message. Gathered her things and left without another word. I closed the door behind her. Locked it. And for the first time in months, leaned my forehead against the wood and just breathed. Not relief. Not anger. Something colder. Finality. I didn't go running after Samantha that night. Didn't storm into the bedroom waving proof in her face. Didn't flip the house upside down screaming, "How could you?" No. I waited. Waited until the next evening, when she came home from work, dropped her bag on the kitchen counter, and smiled at me like nothing was wrong. Like we were just two people living a nice, normal life. Hey, babe, she said. You want Thai or pizza tonight? I watched her for a second. Watched the way she moved. The way she avoided meeting my eyes just a little too long. And I realized something. She wasn't nervous. She wasn't scared. She still thought she had this under control. Sit down, I said. My voice was so calm it didn't even sound like mine. Samantha blinked, thrown off for a second. What's up? Sit down. She dropped onto the bar stool slowly. I stayed standing. Pulled my phone out of my pocket. Opened the gallery link Kevin had sent me. Scrolled to that photo. turned the screen toward her, and waited. It didn't take her long. Half a second. Maybe less. Her face didn't crumple. She didn't gasp or cover her mouth like a bad soap opera actress. No. She went still. Cold. Calculating. Her eyes darted up to mine, searching, measuring. And right then I knew. Knew she wasn't going to confess. Knew she wasn't going to apologize. She was going to try to lie. Even now. Even here. That's not me, she said, straight-faced. Like we'd both lost our minds. I didn't blink. Try again, she swallowed. You know pictures can be blurry. It's not. It's you, I said. Same dress. Same hair. Same goddamn necklace you wore every night of that trip. She opened her mouth, then closed it, eyes flashing. For a second, just a second, I thought she might break. But no. Samantha was a professional at this. The crying didn't start. The shouting didn't start. Instead, she pivoted. I made a mistake, she said, voice dropping into that soft, wounded register she always used when she wanted to get out of trouble. It didn't mean anything. I laughed. Laughed so hard my chest hurt. She flinched like I'd hit her. Didn't mean anything? I said. You planned an entire vacation around it. You dragged me and Kevin onto that ship like props in your little romance. You lied. Over and over. And now you're gonna stand here and tell me it didn't mean anything? She shook her head, desperate now. It was a mistake. I wasn't thinking. I felt lost. I felt... No, I cut her off. You weren't lost. You were selfish. You didn't care who you hurt as long as you got what you wanted. She started crying then. Real tears, maybe. Didn't matter. Not anymore. I let her cry. Let her scramble for words. Let her beg without ever once touching her. Because the thing about betrayal? Once you see it clearly, you can't unsee it. Finally, when she realized I wasn't coming to her rescue, she shifted gears again. Started blaming me. You weren't present, she said. You stopped paying attention to me. You could have said something, I said quietly. You could have talked to me. But you chose to screw your trainer behind my back instead. She stood up then. Tried to close the distance between us. Tried to grab my hands. I can fix this, she said. We can go to counseling. Please, Ryan. Don't throw us away. I stepped back, looked her in the eye, and said the truth. You threw us away a long time ago. I left the house that night. Didn't pack a bag. Didn't take anything. Just grabbed my keys, my wallet, and walked out the door into the cool night air. I didn't know where I was going yet. Didn't care. I just knew I wasn't staying. Not another minute in a house built on lies. Walking away felt good. At first. Fresh air. No lies weighing down the room. No second-guessing every look, every word. I checked into a hotel across town. For the first night in months, I slept straight through. I wish I could say that's where it ended. I wish I could say Samantha accepted it, moved on, let things fall where they needed to. But Samantha? She doesn't lose gracefully. She doesn't lose at all, not if she can help it. It started small. Little whispers through the grapevine. A few mutual friends texting me weird questions. Hey man, everything okay? Heard you've been having a tough time. Or, Sam said you needed space. That you've been going through something. At first, I didn't think much of it. People talk. People guess. But then it escalated. One of my oldest clients called me into his office. Said someone had reached out, anonymously, and mentioned concerns about my mental health. That maybe I was struggling with stability. No accusations. No proof. Just enough seeds of doubt to make life harder. You want to guess who? Because I didn't have to. I knew. Samantha had flipped the script. She wasn't the cheater now. She was the victim. And me? I was the unstable husband who couldn't handle his emotions. It was a hell of a play, honestly. Tidy. Believable. Exactly the kind of story people like to believe when they're uncomfortable with the messy truth. Poor Samantha. Poor betrayed woman. She tried everything, and he just couldn't deal. What a shame. I didn't fight it. Didn't blast my side of the story all over Facebook. Didn't start texting screenshots to everyone we knew. I stayed quiet. Because the truth doesn't need a PR campaign. It stands on its own. Sometimes not immediately. Sometimes not loudly. But always eventually. Meanwhile, Samantha kept pushing. Texting me at all hours. Emails. Missed calls. Some begging. Some angry. Some pitiful. You're ruining everything we built. You're overreacting. We can still fix this if you'll just come home. Mixed in with, you owe me. You're being selfish. Everyone thinks you're crazy now. It was like she couldn't decide if she wanted to cry or burn the house down. Maybe both. I didn't answer. Not once. Not because I didn't have things to say. Believe me, I did. But because talking to her was like trying to argue with smoke. There's nothing to grab onto. Nothing real. Just illusions twisting themselves into whatever shape they think will win. A few weeks later, she sent one final text. Just remember, Ryan. You're the one who walked away. Funny how that works. She cheated. She lied. She dragged me onto a cruise with her boyfriend hiding in the shadows. And somehow, I was still the villain in her story. After a few weeks, the noise started to die down. Fewer texts. Fewer missed calls. The whispers among friends slowed, then stopped. Samantha realized she couldn't guilt-trip me back into place. And I realized something too. Walking away wasn't enough. Not if I wanted to really move forward. I needed closure. Real closure. Not just sleeping in a different bed. Not just ignoring her calls. I needed a clean break. Official. Permanent. No gray areas. No maybe we can fix this in 6 months. Just done. So I called my lawyer. Good guy. Straight shooter. Didn't sugarcoat it. Divorce is messy, he said. Even when both sides agree. You ready for that? I didn't even hesitate. Yeah, I said. I'm ready. Filing the paperwork felt surreal. Seeing my name and Samantha's on a document that officially ended. Forever. There's no right way to describe that feeling. It's not heartbreak. It's not rage. It's more like standing in the middle of a burnout house, holding the deed and thinking, well, that's done. I didn't tell Samantha right away. Filed everything first. Had her served at her apartment. Cold? Maybe. But I wasn't giving her another chance to spin this. Not another speech about what we could have been. Not another fake apology dripping with excuses. Just papers. Sign here. Sign there. Move on. When she got them, she'd lost it. Blew up my phone for 2 days straight. Threats. Tears. Begging. The full performance. You can't just erase us. You're throwing away everything we built. You're not even giving me a chance to explain. I didn't answer a single one. Because what was left to explain? She made her choice. She lived in it. I was just putting it on paper. Kevin and I stayed in touch during all this. He and Ashley were barely speaking. Turns out betrayal doesn't just destroy marriages. It shatters friendships too. He told me he was thinking about leaving her. Said he couldn't look at her the same way anymore. Not after what she helped cover up. Not after the lies. I didn't tell him what to do. Just said, do whatever lets you sleep at night. Because that's all you can do in the end. About a month after the papers were filed, Samantha finally stopped texting. No goodbye. No big final blowout. Just silence. And you know what? That was the loudest thing she ever said. One afternoon, sitting on the little balcony of my hotel room, I opened the final paperwork. Stamped. Signed. Sealed. Done. I closed the folder, leaned back in my chair, and just let the quiet sit there. No anger. No sadness. Just peace. Cold. Heavy. Honest. After the paperwork, life got quiet. Not in a sad way. In a way I didn't even realize I needed. No more checking my phone every 5 minutes. No more wondering if today would be the day another bomb dropped. Just mornings with black coffee and silence. Evenings with simple dinners. Nights where sleep came easy. But even with the divorce finalized, there was one thing still hanging over me. Not Samantha. Not Chase. Not even Ashley. It was me. The part of me that had allowed it to happen. The part that wanted so badly to believe the best. That he closed his eyes to the worst. The part that trusted too easily. Loved too blindly. I wasn't angry about it. But I knew I couldn't carry that forward. Not into whatever came next. So I did something simple. I sat down one night, pulled out a blank sheet of paper, and made 2 lists. On the left side, things I lost. On the right side, things I found. Things I lost. A marriage that wasn't real. A friendship built on lies. Time I can't get back. Trust one gave away too cheaply. Things I found. The truth. My own damn backbone. A life I didn't have to apologize for. Peace. I stared at those lists for a long time. And then I tore the paper in half. Threw the left side into the trash. Kept the right side. Taped it to the back of my closet door. Where no one else could see it. Where it didn't need an audience. Closure isn't something you get handed. It's something you decide to take. Piece by piece. Choice by choice. You wake up every day and choose not to pick the scab again. You choose not to replay the worst scenes in your head. You choose yourself. Even if it's lonely at first. Especially if it's lonely at first. A few months later, I moved out of the hotel and into a little house across town. Nothing fancy. 2 bedrooms. Small yard. Enough space for breathing, not enough for ghosts. Painted the walls myself. Chose every piece of furniture by hand. No compromises. No memories attached. Just mine. Sometimes I run into people from our old circle. Friends who heard versions of the story, mostly Samantha's, I'm sure. Some of them give me pity looks. Some pretend not to recognize me. Doesn't matter. Because when you survive something like this, you don't need everyone to understand. You just need to understand yourself. And finally, I did. Time passed. Not fast. Not clean. Just the slow, stubborn way time always moves when you're healing from something you didn't ask for. At first, it was weird. Not seeing Samantha's face in the hallways. Not hearing her keys drop on the kitchen counter. Weirder still was not missing it. Not really. I didn't miss the tension. The lies. The low, constant hum of something being wrong but never being able to prove it. I missed the idea of her more than the reality. And once you realize that, it gets a whole lot easier to breathe. Kevin and I stayed close. Closer, actually, than we've been in years. There's something about surviving a personal apocalypse together that cements a friendship in ways small talk never could. He stuck it out with Ashley for a while. Tried to forgive. Tried to move past it. Tried to rebuild whatever trust had been shattered. But betrayal's funny like that. It doesn't scream and shout. It just sits there quietly, rotting everything from the inside out. About a year after my divorce finalized, Kevin filed his own papers. Ashley cried, begged, promised. She went to therapy. Started baking. Pretended life could go back to how it was before. But it never does. Once someone chooses someone else's lies over your truth, even once, it never feels right again. Kevin told me later it wasn't one big thing that made him leave. It was the 1,000 little cracks that never sealed up. The way he'd catch her glancing at her phone and wonder. The way she said, "I love you," and he wasn't sure if she meant it or if it was habit. Trust, once broken, doesn't just grow back. Sometimes it stays broken. And that's okay. Better a painful truth than a comfortable lie. So there we were. 2 guys in our 40s. Single. Divorced. A little bruised around the edges. But free. At first, we just tried to survive. Work. Sleep. Repeat. The occasional beer. The occasional late-night conversation about how everything had gone sideways. But after a while, we realized survival wasn't enough. We didn't want to just exist. We wanted to live. Kevin was the one who said it first. Sitting on my tiny patio, 2 beers deep, sun setting behind the rooftops. You know what we need, man? What? A reset. I laughed. Yeah. Where we gonna get one of those? He grinned. Thailand. A month later, we were on a plane to Phuket. No wedding rings. No guilt. No weight dragging behind us like a shipwreck. Just 2 guys who'd been through hell. And finally decided to stop apologizing for still wanting to have fun. We rented a villa near the beach. Nothing crazy, but nice. Private pool. Open-air kitchen. Views that didn't seem real unless you stared long enough. And for the first time in years, we started living again. We hit the beach bars. We hosted small parties. Met people, not in the desperate, clingy way people do after a breakup. Just easy. Natural. Some nights we stayed up until sunrise, laughing like idiots. Other nights, we sat by the pool, drinking whiskey, talking about the old days, and not even feeling bitter about it anymore. Women came and went. Some stuck around longer than others. No pressure. No promises. Just whatever felt right in the moment. I'm not saying it fixed everything. Some wounds don't heal pretty. They leave scars. But scars aren't bad. They're proof you lived. Proof you fought. Proof you didn't stay down when the world knocked you flat. Kevin and I still joke about it sometimes. How a cruise we didn't even want to go on ended up detonating our whole lives. How a blurry background photo changed everything. How betrayal, heartbreak, divorce, all of it, led us here. To sunsets over the Andaman Sea. To fresh starts we never would have found if life hadn't broken us first. If you're waiting for some grand, poetic ending, you're gonna be disappointed. There's no happily ever after. Here, just 2 guys who survived. Who got smarter, got freer, and found a way to laugh again. Loud and real and unashamed. And honestly, that's more than enough.